Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Alvarez and I'm here with I would say with the band, but they're my oldest, dearest, oh God, it's been a decade with New Politics. So Louis, David, Soren, God, I miss your faces.
Oh, miss you too.
So much. I was thinking about it. We've been doing this since day one. You've been with KROQ since day one and you're just celebrating your 10th anniversary, which has got to be
10 years.
Crazy.
It's so weird that it's
Am
crazy.
I that old?
Yeah.
10 years
Am I
together.
that old now?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Have you gone through the ups and downs like any kind of familial relationship, or have you maintained a solid bond where you never fight?
Oh, we fight all the time.
Honestly though, I have to say for like a 10-year like working relationship,
Yeah.
I feel like we really don't have like horrible like argument moments. Like we do, obviously, but it hasn't been like, you hear like horror stories of just like...
Oh no, and I've seen horror stories.
Yeah, like we haven't thrown...
Yeah,
like,
we're not at that level.
Yeah, Soren might have
coolness.
thrown me out of the bus last night, by accident.
Every experience I've ever had with you guys, you seem to genuinely enjoy each other's company. Like, you choose to spend time together even when you're not working.
Yes.
We do.
Yes?
That's it. Yeah, we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're doing something right.
We talk and stuff, even off tour and stuff. And
Do you give each other advice?
I mean, that's hard because I'm the only one that's good at giving advice. Here we start. No.
We were talking about this earlier, so I just want the one honest answer. I'm going to ask really quick. Who is the most adult of the three of you?
I'm
gotta be
gonna
me.
have to say it's me.
Definitely me.
I feel like, I hope you don't mind my saying so, but I feel like that's so untrue.
It's so untrue. It is.
I feel like maybe you are.
I think so.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Louis is.
I do.
Do you want to raise my baby?
Just from what I gather. Let's go back real quick to before we get into the new album to 2017, Lost in Translation, and then from 2017 to 2019, what were you guys doing? How did you spend your time, and were you able to disconnect from being rock stars for a little while?
I think that was a really important time for all of us because that's where we kind of moved into separate places, and I think that it was necessary. I know that sounds crazy, but we have been doing it so long that I think everybody had lost touch with what we were doing, and we didn't even know what we wanted, like what our voice should be. So it's a kind of a crazy, I look at it now and I'm like, that was kind of messed up. Everything was a little messed up, but at the same time, I also think it was one of the most important things. And I think a lot of bands don't make it out of that phase, but I think every band is going to go through that phase, So something kept us together and made us go, let's make another record, let's do it, and let's try and do something we had never done before. So the way I look at that is definitely that it was scary, and it was also, it shook everything up for all of us, I think, and a lot of things happened in those 2 years, and
Our personal lives and
yeah.
But in those 2 years, were you able to breathe, and were you able to? I feel like if you're not really allowed to take time off because you might feel like you're going to lose your momentum or people will forget you, so you never truly have peace of mind. So in those 2 years, were you able to have any peace of mind and just live your life, the one you earned and worked so hard for?
I think so. I think it was like Soren was saying, and David apart. It was scary. I feel like the first year was awesome because that was kind of like the breath
Vacation time.
Yeah, and it was cool. And then after that year for me, I started to like panic a little bit, and I was like, well, what's
we were also at the end of our options with our label with Warner.
Yeah.
And we'd moved from RCA to Warner, and we basically were up with our contract, and then with our publishing as well with BMG. And I think also just what life was presenting itself, like having a baby, us living separately, Louis getting married and stuff. I think all those things make you question things differently. When we first moved here like 10 years ago, we all lived together in an apartment in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And had a studio in the basement, had no responsibilities, and anyone that said like, oh, do you want to go on tour, we're like, yeah,
Sure.
So we were just on the road. I mean, there were times we were on the road for 300 days, a year. So I think we probably didn't really know what was going on. It's just like, and we knew what we what we were supposed to know for the times we were in, you know, and the people were. But I think looking at it from a different perspective, it's like, whoa, what are we doing this for? You know, like somewhere along the way, it's also like you chase certain things and you compare yourself to your former self or to other bands or what else is going in the music because you're in that industry. Mm-hmm. And I feel like all these things were sort of being presented to us in a sense. And we decided not to take the options and take a break and kind of like step back a little bit.
Sometimes you need that.
Yeah, and
People don't realize.
I felt we really needed that because I think we were constantly on, and I'm not sure we always knew why.
Because you're just in the motion. Because
yeah,
you're
we love it.
You're in motion,
yeah.
So you just keep going. I get that. I always ask artists, why did you get into it? Was it to save the world, to save yourself? To do the sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Like, what was the allure and what was yours when you started New Politics or when you started playing music? Which one was it?
I would say for me, I always thought that it was because of the girls. I know that's
You're not the only one to say that.
No, but I always thought it was. But I come from a little bit of a messed up background,
so
just like, you know, yes, I think a lot of people do. Yeah. And I didn't realize that it really was to save myself. I remember somebody said that, and I was probably a little drunk somewhere in Brooklyn like some years ago, and I was like, there's no way you went into music for that. And then I realized that I really think I did, because it was a way out of all that, because suddenly you're able to create something that I think it's relatable, because you're relating yourself to the thing you're creating. So for me, I know for a fact that's the real reason for why I got into music.
Okay. What about you two?
I mean, at a young level, I remember watching like Tommy Lee and being like, "This is what I need to do."
Yeah.
Like Flames, I want to play drums in a song.
To this day, I watch Tommy Lee and I'm like, "This is what I need to do."
And honk the horn of a boat.
I mean, but later on, like once I started to, in high school, I started to recognize that when I needed an escape, I would go down in my basement and play drums. Because in my school, for whatever reason, it wasn't cool to be a musician. Like it wasn't. Like you either like skated or played football, you know, and so I kind of like hid the fact that I was good at drums at a young age, and I didn't really play. I did everything. I played trombone for a long time.
But I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and I know, but I started to recognize that like I would just get lost down there and learn albums and play along, like all my dad's records and stuff.
Oh, I love that story. What about you, David?
I think also means of escape, like you can do stuff without thinking, without rules, without authority, without a sense of like judgment, and it gives you fulfillment. But I think you're also very spot on with everything you said. You know, there's, you know, changing the world, helping
levels.
yourself.
There's the levels.
Sex, drugs, and rock and rolls. I feel that it's like a mix of it all, and with art you can have it all. So I feel like, depending what part of the ego or whatever you're hitting,
wherever you are,
yeah,
at
where
that
you
time.
are, I think music can help any situation in any place or feed anything, and I just got lost in that, I think.
Let's get lost in the new album, an invitation to an alternate reality, which is very enticing because yes, I want to go to there, and. It's such a good record, and it's so surprising, and it's so interesting. For example, it starts with Unstoppable, which it's empowering, and you've got this, you're going to conquer the world, and then it goes into, help me.
Which one is it?
It goes into Bad For Me.
Bad For Me.
It goes into Bad For Me, which is like, there's a duality. Yeah, there's a duality there, but just the message alone. Let's talk about lyrics, and then the music, sonically, is freaking fantastic, but let's talk about the lyrics. Because I feel like you crack open your head and you guys let us in to places. So what was the driving force behind, I don't want to say message, but some of the things that you're talking about?
I think it has a lot to do with what we were talking about earlier. Like our situation as a band, like leaving, you know, our manager, just all of us parting our ways without bad blood, just like in a sense of like, we've hit a roof. We don't really know what we're doing anymore. It's like we need a break from this and we need to like rebalance ourselves in a way. And I think through doing that, we really found a reason, like we found a place which brought us back to why we do this in the first place. And I think honing into that opens up like, it just opens up a door and it just starts flowing, you know, like creativity. Like a lot of the record is freestyle.
Did it surprise you, some of the stuff that came out? Bad for Me is my favorite just because it's got kind of like, I don't want to say reggae vibe. How do you,
It definitely
right?
is.
It
Yeah,
does.
it's got, like,
There's
rainbow.
2 songs on the album that have, here I have notes. Hold on, no, Ozone 2.
Ozone.
Because they both have that vibe, but I'm going to ask you about 2 songs that I love the most, and I want you to just tell me something about them. Let Your Head Go, also called Pretend It's 1995, and Talk, and it takes you, it's nostalgic and it takes you back to like, simpler times. Tell me anything about that song. I love it so much.
I think they're like 2 separate things. We did the outro, that Pretend It's 19, which is like a poem.
Yeah.
And I was in Malibu, and I was up at Neptune.
Neptune's Net?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, you got to check out the sunset. You know, it goes so fast. So we ran over there, and while I was over there, I had to go into the studio the day after, and I was like looking for segues and interludes and just stuff. I was trying to like melt in with, you know, what's it called, sugarcoat what was already there. Because Let Your Head Go was already done. That we'd already done. Which is more like a vibe of, you know, not
The
overthinking
politics, yeah.
stuff, kind of living in the moment.
Which
and
is
like,
why it's so relatable. I love that so much because I think that's what we all have a problem with.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It's just the kind of like diffusing the situation and like, let it go, dude.
yeah.
That's why I think
And I think also with writing music and this record, we kind of got back to that place where we're just kind of like, don't overthink it, but like, that doesn't mean it has, you know, you don't have to be a perfectionist. That's not what I'm saying. But like just live it, you know, like live it and let the music speak for itself. And
Yeah, I think music is about that a lot. You
Yeah.
know, you have to be able to, like, it's a little bit like, you know, with kids, for example.
I love how you
because-
point at me.
because-
Yeah,
because
well,
you,
I was like-
because you have many.
Yeah, I have a lot. I
Tell
have
us
a lot
about
of them. I have a
ton of experience in
kids.
No, but it's a lot. It's. I think it's the same thing that there's a certain innocence and honesty that comes from, you know, how kids are saying things and how they react to things.
Yeah, it's
And I
great.
think as a musician, if you get some of that, sometimes you just have to go with it, because if you don't, then it also turns into this very overthought, very well directed, produced
Yeah.
element, and none of us are really like that.
And it's not
you know?
organic. You have to go with the wonderment.
And
Yeah.
and that's, I think, is sometimes what takes a lot of writing that leads up to the moment where that starts happening. And once it starts happening, it kind of just happens by itself. So with like what David was just saying, you know, we are writing these songs, and a lot of it is freestyle, even melodies, or even like, you know, drums, guitars, all these things that happen in that moment. And if it feels good, it probably is good. And I
And
think
with Feldy, it's
yeah.
amazing because
Yeah,
he's
'cause
so
he works
good
like
at his
that, yeah.
craft.
John
Yeah.
Feldman
He's like,
is
don't even explain
even
to me.
think about it,
Go
just
in
go.
there. And
A
I'm like,
dynamo.
blah, blah, blah. He's like, we got a song. Just give me a second to arrange this.
he's
And
like a
it's like, boom.
savant.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I love this record so much. Suspension sonically is it's so interesting.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's so interesting, and I can't wait to. I don't know if you play it live, but I can't wait
We
to
do.
see it. If so, if you were to tell somebody, this is the love of my life on this record, what song would you say is closest to your heart?
I really, really, really enjoy Bad for Me.
It's
I
my
love,
favorite from the
I
get
just,
go.
it's so fun, like rhythmically to play, and it gives me personally like a real opportunity to like lean back into fit into the groove. You know,
Yeah.
with a lot of our songs, this is like real nerdy drum stuff, but a lot of our songs are like very on top of the beat and very like, you know, like
But this
angsty.
sounds like
Th-
underneath
this
it.
is like, you know,
Yeah.
you just get that like chill, like, and I enjoy playing that on stage.
You always got to remind him. Yo,
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
you gotta
you
sit
just-
on it.
just
He's
lay
like,
back.
oh yeah, that's right. Hold on.
You guys, this is a new chapter and a new you, and it's a new you, but with the same ingredients. You know, of you're still true to yourself, but it's you've leveled up, if anything, and it's wonderful. And I
Thank you.
cannot wait for everybody to hear it. And you're going on the road. enjoy it. You've earned it. I'm so very proud of you. One last question. What do you want from this? Do you want to send a message to fans or to people, or is this more of a catharsis for you? Like you needed to do this for you guys?
I think for me, the way I see it is that we David has actually been a very big part of doing the pushing of like, let's just do something that's not what we would usually do, you know, and
it ended up being us really fuck, we can't escape it.
No, I think exactly that. Like we want to come out and be like we can do other stuff, and this is weirdly enough. And I know it's just, you know, all our records are kind of pop records because that's who we are. But also this is different. And I think that it's in a weird way it's a grown up record for us because
adults.
Yeah,
you made an adult record.
I know it's not. It's not an adult record. I think it's more youthful in a lot of ways. You know,
expressive.
Yeah,
I've seen and heard sides of you that I kind of knew were there, but now it's like something burst open.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was that you guys tapped into.
There's a fire that I think we lost somewhere along the way.
And an intricacy, and you're going places lyrically, but also sonically is what I noticed the most.
Yeah.
It just kind of something burst open, and I'm so excited for people to hear this.
Thank you.
So thank you for being part of our
Thank
family.
you.
I'm proud of you, and I love your faces.
Oh.
That's it. Bye, everyone. I love you guys.